Emma the beggar for refusing to share a single piece of my mom's art. My parents got married straight out of high school, had me right away, and then split up when I was 3. But they started close friends till the day my mother died. My dad remarried Anna when I was 7. She had a daughter, Eve. Then they had our brother, Jake, together. Jake was really sick when he was a toddler, so our parents spent a lot of time at the hospital with him and spent a lot of time at my mom's house. Eve's dad worked weird hours, so my mom was more than happy to take Eve to most of the time. She loved hanging out with kids. My mom was a talented and passionate artist, and she was determined to foster a love of art in us. As she did for both of us, but Eve is far more talented than I am, and her and my mom bonded over the started love of painting. My mother passed away suddenly this January. I was always extremely close with her, and I was and still am completely devastated. I still can accept that she's gone forever. I miss her so much. In late April, I finally got up the spirit to start organizing her things. Eve approached me after I mentioned that I was going to my mother's home to sort through some stuff, and she asked me if she could look through my mom's painting and have a few as a keepsakes because my mother was such an inspiration for her. I don't want to, and I refused. Not the paintings. I'm willing to give her clothes, jewelry, furniture, almost anything, but the paintings and journals are cloth things I have left to my mom. There's a pieces of her soul in there. It's not just the stuff. They're the most personal items she left, and I don't want to let a single one go. Eve got really upset and said she didn't care about any of the other things either, and she didn't think she was asking for that much. She said my mother was an important person in her life and that they had a strong relationship. Eve believes that if my mother would left her something if she had the opportunity to decide. I still said no, and Eve went to her mom to complain. And now my immediate family is turned on the issue and arguing when we will see each other. My dad understands, but thinks I can give up one or two, and that I might change my mind in a couple years once the pain isn't so fresh. And I do think that it could be happened before, but Eve and Anna are pushing me so hard on it and being passive aggressive towards me, and I feel completely different about them now. We all used to be close. I understand she wasn't a stranger to my mom, but that's just not enough for me. I think my own grief is bigger, and to ask me for such a personal thing so soon after her death was insensitive. And I'm ever more upset that they don't even see the irony of Eve sending her own living mother after me for my dad mom's stuff. My boyfriend wants me to just give her one and repay my family, so I'll stop terminating myself, but I think I want to stand my ground here. So, am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for checking our nanny cam footage to prove I was being lied to? Recently, my spouse's daughter and I were having dinner together. He took some food off her plate to try a bite, and she responded by shaking her finger and saying, "You need to ask." He said, "I'm sorry, you're right, I should ask." And then, a few minutes later, reached over to my place setting and took some of my food without asking. I didn't think it was a great example for our daughter, considering it happened moments earlier, so I said, "You didn't ask. You just did the same thing to daughter." He said, "I assume you were done eating." And I said, "You assumed, but just ask me." So he handed it back to me, said, "Can I have some of your garlic bread?" And I shared. Very calm, normal exchange. Because that was a non issue and I was not upset at the situation, we tried to use it in marriage counseling as an example of how to communicate in certain situations. Mainly, when I say something hurt me and my spouse wants to explain how he experienced it, even instead of apologizing. It became an issue when he only wanted to give his side of the food story in counseling. Later that day, I asked him calmly again if he would like to share his side to see if it changes my perspective. I said, I can argue with your experience since we both agree on what happened. And to my surprise, he indicated we did not agree. He told me he took the garlic bread from my place because he got it for both of us. I knew this was nonsense as I order from the restaurant frequently and know how much garlic bread comes with the dish. I got insanely angry because we argue constantly about how things happen, so I stormed off. So later he came to me and said, I'm sorry. I thought the garlic bread was mine and I was wrong. So by this point, I've been told that he got garlic bread for us both, and then that he thought the bread was his. I felt crazy, as I usually do when this conversation happened with him. So I thought to check the nanny cam to see what really happened. He handed me my food, saying, and there's garlic bread on top for you. And then later, when I called him out for talking it from my place, he didn't say this bread was mine. Or I got this to share. He said, okay, can I have some of your garlic bread? I took those clips from our nanny cam and sent them to him, asking why he would lie about something so small and turn into a massive thing. He immediately got mad and said, I can't believe you will do something as ridiculous as checking at the camera. You're so out of line, and stormed off. So, guys, I'm at the bad guy for using our nanny cam to call my spouse out for lying. I'm at the bad guy for telling my wife I'm tired of raising a kid that is not mine. I'm married to my wife, Amber. We have a daughter, Emma. The problem is my wife's best friend, Jennifer, has a daughter as well, Harper. Well, Harper's dad is a lazy sack of crap and refuses to do anything with his daughter. He's the type of the guy that brags about how he never changed a diaper. Jennifer and Harper are usually at Amber and my house on the weekends because Harper's dad is drinking and watching sports all weekend. On Saturdays, I normally spend all day with my daughter because I don't see her as much as I want during the week. However, with Harper being there every Saturday, anything I do with Emma, I have to do with the Harper. Take Emma to the zoo, it's Emma, Harper, and I. Taught them both how to ride bikes, take them both to dance class, take them both to the kids' saloon, and so on. Mother's Day was the last straw. I took them both to dance class Saturday morning. Amber and I also paid for both dance classes because Dad beat one. On the way home, Emma asked if I could stop to get something for Mom for Mother's Day. I said sure, but then it ended up I had to buy something for Harper's mom as well. On the way home, I just kept thinking, why I'm buying someone else's wife a Mother's Day gift? That's his job. A few days later, because I don't want to ruin Mother's Day, I told my wife that I'm tired of raising Harper. Her real father needs to step up. I'm tired of it taking away time I get spent with Emma. She said that Jennifer is her best friend and we need to be there for Harper. Now she's not speaking to me and sleeping in the guest bathroom. So, and just wanted to add some updates to questions I see. Emma and Harper are best friends. It was my idea to spend Saturday with Emma. I work more during the week, so I wanted to spend Saturday with Emma and to give my wife a bit of break. We pay for things B Jennifer's husband thinks is a waste of money to pay for dance class and Jennifer can't afford to pay by herself. Jennifer and Harper do things with Amber and Emma 1 or 2 times a week together during the weekends. So, am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for not helping my neighbor with her kids after her husband left her? So, background info. My husband and I have lived next to Jack and Jill for 2 years. We have a son who's 6 years old, and they had 2 kids who are the similar age, but a little bit older. All the kids go to the same elementary school, and I used to see Jack in the car ride line. Our neighborhood is relatively close to the school, so the school bus does not pick up there. We have to walk or drive our kids to school. Jack and Jill have constantly had loud fights ever since they moved here. And by fights, I mostly mean Jill will scream at Jack and kick him out the house on a weekly basis. Normally, he will sleep in his car and come back inside in the morning after she leaves for work. Jill works as a CNA at the nearby hospital, the 6 a.m., 6 p.m. shift. Jack worked from home, like I do, which let him take the kids to school. Well, after this last fight, Jack picked up all his stuff and left, flew back home to his mother in a different country. Jill recently came to me saying that she has no one to watch her kids from roughly 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. She asked if she could send them over in the morning, help me watch them and feed them breakfast, and then take them to school, and then later pick them up and feed them dinner and watch them till she gets off work. I explained to her that being expected to be a second parent basically to two kids is not something I'm really interested in. Asked how much she was willing to pay, and she said she expected me to do it for free since she has no friends and no one else to ask. She also asked if I will watch them on the weekends so she could pick up extra shifts. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to pay the rent. I told her absolutely no, and that she's insane basically to think I'll agree to something so unreasonable when we weren't even friends, and our kids aren't friends either. My husband thinks I wasn't a bad guy, and that we could offer to at least help sometimes for the kids' sake. My stance is that we both know she wouldn't do the same for us if the roles were reversed, since Jill isn't really a nice person. So I'm not the bad guy for not helping my neighbor with her kids after her husband left. I'm at the bad guy for not letting my in laws move in with us while they look for a new house. My wife and I have been married for 15 years and we have three kids. My wife's younger sister Anne currently lives in Florida with her girlfriend and two kids. The 15 years old is a gay. Anna's girlfriend obviously isn't the father to her kids. Anne came out as a bisexual about 5 years ago and divorced the kids' father. I don't know a lot of details about her divorce, but I do know that she was granted primary custody of her kids after a long and tumultuous custody battle. Me and said she needed to talk. Apparently, Anna's landlord has either refused to renew the lease of the house they rent, or they increased the rent to price Anna out of it. My wife wasn't sure. As a result, they have to be out of their house June 1st. Due to recent political events in Florida, Anna wants to move her family out of state. My family lives in a midway state that has a much more LGBTQ plus friendly political atmosphere. Anne told my wife that she and her girlfriend agree that moving their family to our state will be a good move for them. But given the short timeline for the housing situation, they are up against the clock. So Anne asked my wife if they could stay with us while they find a place for them to live. I told my wife I have a lot of reservations about that idea. We only have one extra bedroom, so sleeping arrangements will be difficult and will probably involve moving kids into rooms together. Also, currently, WFH and my office space is located in extra bedrooms, so my work situation will be directly impacted. I don't have a physical office to go to for work. Also, the housing market in our area is pretty tough right now. Houses are going for above market price and selling fast. The rental market isn't any better. All of that leads me to believe that if Anne and her family come stay with us, it would be short term, and the people most directly impacted by this will be me and our kids, not my wife. I explained all of this to my wife and told her I don't think it's a good idea. I told her I feel bad for the situation Anne and her family is in, but she's asking a lot of our family, and I don't feel like we are in the proper position to take them in. My wife did not like my response one bit. She accused me of not caring about her sister and that we took my brother and his family in short term before, which is true, but a vastly different situation. My brother was having some renovations done on his home, and we were given a time frame for the stay. The work permit on their renovation had an end date that work needed to be completed by, so we know exactly how long they will be staying. They ended up staying a week less than they expected. And at that time, our two youngest will still sharing a room anyway, so we had two extra bedrooms, and I wasn't working from home. She sees this as me playing favorites with my family versus hers, and thinks I'm being a bad guy here. Am I? Am I the bad guy for kicking my whole family out of my wedding over a dress? Honestly, I think I have every right to kick them out. So my fiance Mark has a best friend Theo. Theo likes wearing female clothes. We won't wear it to work or anything, but if the hostess allows, he will wear it to special events. He is also androgynous, so he slays the look. He asked if he could wear a dress to my wedding and engagement, and I agreed. He wore a thing, I forgot what it's called. I'm an immigrant from a non English speaking country, but it's the pants that attach to a top to our engagement party. And the whole party, I noticed that my family was giving him weird looks and outright glaring at him, passing hiding rude comments. They sat me down after and told me that it was weird that Theo was wearing something feminine and asked me if he was going to do the same at my wedding. And I told him, yeah, he's going to. They asked me if it bothers me and if Mark pressured me into letting him wear the clothes. I told them no, he didn't let him with my own free will. And then they told me that if Theo is coming, they won't come. So I'll tell them don't come. Now they are mad that I didn't invite Theo and won't talk to me. They also insulted Theo, calling him slurs, which is when I totally uninvited them. A lot of people are telling me that I'm making a huge mistake in inviting him. My fiance is on my side, but he wants me to talk about it. Theo says, well, he appreciates me standing up for him, but he doesn't to lose my family over him. I feel like this is a people say my hill to die on. I was already expecting it, and I'm fully prepared to cut them off because I don't like their racist use. This would also have happened if I had made an LGBT friend and introduced them to my family. And in my opinion, this will have happened sooner or later. So what do you think? Am I the bad guy here? I'm at the bad guy for snapping at my sister about my engagement ring. I recently got engaged to my fiance, and we're super excited to start planning out our wedding. My fiance proposed while we were on holiday, so we kept it off social media until we could tell our families in person. When it came time to telling my family, they congratulated us, but after they weren't very excited or even that interested. Well, I'll understand that no one is going to care about our wedding like we do. It's totally her that they just weren't excited, at least initially. My sister did ask to see my ring as she used to work in a jewelry store. When she saw that I have an emerald and diamond ring, she got very snippy and said that as emeralds are her stone, I shouldn't have an emerald ring at all. I brushed this off because I just wanted to stay excluded and happy, but she kept on bringing it up and saying things like it's not even that nice of a ring. As soon as she said that I saw red, my fiance got me the ring of my dreams, and I know how hard he worked to save for it and find it for me. He's saying that it's not even that nice made me so angry that I snapped back that at least I have a ring and I'm not bitter and jealous because someone else got engaged and she's single. I also said that it wouldn't hurt her to just pretend to be happy for me for once. My parents then stepped in and said that I was over the line and made it personal when it didn't need to be. At this point, we just left to go tell my grandma about the engagement, and she was super excited for us. I haven't spoken to my parents or sisters since, and they haven't reached out either. I think I might have been a bad guy by commenting on her relationship status, but my fiance says that she was repeatedly out of line and I just shut it down. I'm interested to see what objective strangers think though. So, am I the bad guy here?